Good morning, real closers. Good morning, Gustavo. How's it going?
Going good, going good. How's everybody doing?
Hope everybody's fine. Everybody's happy. Today is Monday. The case of the Mondays. I don't know. Have you
Happy
seen that movie?
Monday. Yeah, no, I don't think so. But hey, happy Monday. I know the term. Happy Monday. Cheer up. Come on, we're back at it, right? 100%. For the real estate folks, I mean, no one took off Saturday and Sunday, right? If you're working open houses and only took half the day off, is that really a weekend? Yes or no? Real estate agents are weekend warriors, right? So even though it's a Monday, right? Most agents are working over the weekend too. So we're keeping up with everybody.
If you work this weekend, drop a one. If you're watching this on the replay, still drop a one. Let us know. Everybody is working through the weekend.
Weekend warriors, right? Weekend warriors. So
I worked through the weekend, man. I was busy.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think all of us. If you're an entrepreneur, I think there's no such thing as Monday through Friday 9 to 5, and that's a pretty clear thing. So I think we all kind of put in that time. But I remember as an agent, when I was an active agent, there's never been a time where I worked more weekends or longer on the weekends. I think at minimum I would do a couple open houses during the weekends minimum. That was like a light, easy weekend for me. If it didn't have many clients doing showings, I would mostly do just open houses, and I would door knock before or after each open house, right? So that's what if I didn't have any clients, I was out there looking for clients at these open houses, the open itself, and then out door knocking before or after. And when I had a bunch of clients, right, I would take most of that time and just do showings. I remember I had my slots. I would do 3 showings Saturday, 3 showings on Sunday. And if it was really busy, had a lot of people, I would sneak in that 4th, potentially even a 5th showing. So I remember writing offers, Sunday 11 p.m. at night, like just trying to make sure I got it all in, because I had been out all day, had not even had a chance to breathe, eating in the car, everything, right? The whole thing. When you're a newer agent, you gotta hustle, man. There's the only way you make up for your lack of experience, lack of knowledge, lack of database, lack of everything is through hustle. I think that's really the biggest thing. So a lot of respect for people that went out there. And today's topic, is for you guys, whether you're a brand new agent, whether you're a more seasoned veteran agent. I saw this topic come up in another piece of content. I was seeing a conversation between Gary Vaynerchuk and Ryan Serhant, or is it Serhant, whatever his name is, right? The really famous New York City real estate agent, and he was on that show, and I'm drawing a blank here what reality show he was on. Do you remember the name, Roberto? I'm drawing a blank. He was a really famous reality show agent on one of those shows, like Selling Sunset, like Agents of this, Agents of that, right? He became a star out of one of those shows where they feature multiple agents, and his career took off from there. I mean, to credit to him, he took that fame and those 15 minutes of fame and became a mega agent, started his own brokerage. And now I think he has his own office in New York City, obviously, but now he's expanding to other places in the country. I thought it was a really good conversation because Gary Vaynerchuk is a marketing guy. He's a pure marketing guy. That's his gift. He's really good at marketing. And his sister happens to be a real estate agent, so he's always close to the industry, right? And he had a really good conversation with Ryan, and they brought up this term, right? Because Ryan told him, the obvious thing. He asked him the obvious thing. Hey, it's a tough year for real estate right now. It's really challenging for agents right now. And he said that a lot of agents in his office and his offices in his brokerage, it can be really easy for them to get down in the dumps, to get, oh my goodness, this is the worst market ever. Oh my goodness, I won't be able to sell any homes. Nothing's working. What do I do? Right. So that's a very common feeling. It's a very common sentiment. Right. And he asked Gary, what do you do if someone's telling you that? What do you do when you're getting that message? And, nothing's working. No one's buying a home. Who's going to buy a home with 7% interest rates? This is kind of hopeless. What are we going to do? Right. So I thought that's a great starting off point, because Gary said Gary said 2 things that I agree 100% with, because I say them myself. So, brilliant minds think alike, right? So he said 2 things that I can't, but I'm going to tell you, not something that Gus says, something that Gary Vaynerchuk, world famous marketer, says. He said 2 things. First one was the most important one. He goes, all those things, the Fed pushing interest rates, the market cooling down, I don't know if it's cooling down, but there's less transactions, the market having less transactions, things getting tighter, all of that are facts. Those are facts, 100%. Those things are true. They are also things that we have zero control over, right? He goes, acknowledge that, recognize that, and make peace with that. That's just a fact. And stressing and worrying and deciding what to do based on what the Fed is doing it's just not a winning strategy, right? Because you're defeated before you even start the game. It's not even the first inning and you've already struck out, right? Like, what's going on? What's the deal? So dwelling on that, getting overly concerned with that, it's just not a winning strategy. It's not going to get you anywhere, right? And I see so many real estate agents, Roberto, in different Facebook groups, not so much in real closers. Real closers are cool, but in other Facebook groups, even my own Facebook group, I go, hey, they're struggling. They're not happy. Like, it's not a good time to be an agent right now. They're struggling. But it's one thing to not be super happy. It's another thing to just dwell and not take action, because who would buy a home with 7% interest rates? I'll tell you who. About 4 to 4.5 million homes will be sold in this country, okay? In that range. I think the latest estimate was 4.1 or 4.3, in that range, right? 4 to 4.5 million homes will be sold in this country, okay? And I don't think it's dropped below 4 in I don't know how many years, right? Because in the boom times, 2021, we sold over 6 million in the country, okay? Over 6 million properties just 2 years ago, not that long ago, right? Last year, we sold less. This year, we're probably going to sell less than last year, probably, okay? But the point is, there's going to be about 8 to 9 million sides out there, right? Even with the low inventory, even with the interest rates, even with all these concerns you've got, they're real concerns, they're valid concerns. But if you dwell on that and you're stuck on that, you're not going to take action, not do anything, right? And when the moment something doesn't work, you're going to attribute it to the interest rate and you're going to give up, right? So that's what Gary meant. It was so important to not get stuck in that mindset, because your belief is your destiny at some point, right? We're in sales. We're in sales. This is what we do, right? What you bring to this job is your mindset and what's between the ears, right? Your motivation and your mindset. That's basically it. So dwelling, getting stuck on this, you got to pull yourself out. You got to stop thinking that way, right? That was the first thing Gary said. The second thing he said is you got to focus on the only thing you can control, okay? And he called it generating demand, right? You got to focus on generating demand, because that is something that is in your control. And he basically said, you've got to do activities that get you one of those 8 or 9 million deals. It was better when there were 12 million. I agree. That was a better time. I love that time too, right? However, it doesn't change the fact that there are 8 to 9 million deals out there. You just got to do activities to attract some of those transactions, right? And he said that agents have multiple ways of generating demand, and some of the very obvious ones, like calling your database, finding out where they're at. Roberto, it was an agent I coached, and she came to me and she wanted to do Facebook ads and ISA and cold call and everything. The first thing I asked her, have you gone through and called your entire database? Because she's one of those people that's like an attractor, very sociable kind of person, knows everybody at church, knows everybody at like volleyball for her daughter, and knows everyone everywhere, right? And that's been the lifeblood of her business. But check this out. They had always been calling her. They'd always been calling her. They've been coming to her, right? And that lead source has really dried up this year compared to last year. It's way less people calling her, way less people, okay? However, I told her, but hold on. You've got a massive, and I mean hundreds upon hundreds. I wish I would have had a database like this person had, right? Hundreds upon hundreds of people. You got to sit down before you even hire an ISA. You don't even need an ISA for this, right? This is the first, I told her, first step number one is market to that database, call that database, make an event for that database, and attract demand, create demand from that database, find it, right? Generate it, figure it out, right? And that was the first source that I told her she needed to focus on. And that's the same thing with telling anybody. And I'm the prospecting guy, ISA guy, we're marketing guys 100%. But that is, if you haven't even tried, she hadn't even tried, okay? Had not even tried calling your database. Again, not a new agent, been in the business several years. Referral and recommendation from her sphere. That's her business. Referral and recommendation from her sphere, right? And she wanted to expand her business, try the lead source, and said, you got to maximize your current lead source. She didn't even realize that she could do more with her database. She just kind of thought that no one recommending her, no one referring her business meant that her database was exhausted. Absolutely not, right? You got to go in there, you got to generate that demand. You got to generate people asking you, sending you referrals. because it doesn't mean they don't know anyone that's going to buy or sell a home, right? It's just not that there's not an excess of people that they're sending them over to you. But if you go reach out there and ask them, hey, who do you know from church, from work, from volleyball, from anyone else that might be thinking of doing something in real estate, I'd love to help them, right? 100%, right? So that's one huge way that agents should be generating demand, right? There's other obvious ones, like picking up the phone and calling, right? Whether that's circle prospecting, whether that's calling expireds. One of my personal favorites, old expireds. Call them people from a year ago, right? That expired a year ago. Call them up and tell them the strange thing that's happening in the market. They can probably get more money than they anticipated right now than a year ago. The market was in the tank a year ago, okay? We hit 7-8% interest rates for the first time a year ago. And the market went down September, October, November, December, January for the whole country. For the whole country, it went down, right? Seasonal adjustment and interest rate adjustment both hit us at the same time. But something funny happened in January, February. Things kind of turned around price-wise, okay? Price-wise. Prices went back up and people did not expect that. They expected them to keep falling throughout the year. It didn't happen. Call those people, give them the good news, generate some demand, okay? Because if they think they can sell their property for more than they considered, more than they thought of, it might generate demand for that next property, all right? Because, hey, maybe this is not that bad an idea to try and see what we can get for this home right now. Let's check it out. Let's try it out, 100%, right? And then Gary, this is his bread and butter, right? So he eventually got to this. He goes, creating content on social media. That is one of the ultimate ways to generate demand. It's one of the ultimate ways. It's not the fastest. I want to be clear about that. It's not the fastest way. But going live, right? Posting content, posting pictures, telling people what's out there, what loan programs are out there, adjustable rate mortgages, some of these buy down programs, some of these builder concessions. If you have builder inventory in your area, that's what you should be talking about 100%, because even if there's a wait list on some of these homes, there's homes to be had. There's lots to be had, which is way more than some of these other markets have. They don't have any new builder. I was talking to an agent from Charlotte on Friday, Coach John D. Smith. They have like a 6 to 12 month wait list on builders because they ran out of their inventory a year and a half ago, new builder inventory. And they've got, some of the smallest inventory for resale in the whole country, okay? Remember, the whole country reached a peak last year. About June of last year, the whole country reached a peak on prices. Not Charlotte. They're at the peak right now. They have a new peak. 2023 went even higher than 2022. That's not true for most places. It's true for Charlotte, which is kind of crazy, right? So that's how hot the market is there. If you're not in Charlotte, North Carolina, you've got options, right? You're not as bad as them when it comes to inventory, right? You're not setting a brand new record on price in 2023. Prices are up though. Take advantage of that and scream it from the rooftops to anyone that's willing to listen, okay? The bottom line is this, Roberto. Whoever generates and has the most real estate focused conversations on a daily basis is going to be able to navigate a difficult market. And the difference is like my client that I'm coaching 2 years ago, she couldn't keep up with people coming to her, could not keep up with it. A lot of people referring her, repeat clients, demand everywhere, right? Nowadays, the phone's not ringing, okay? Phone's not ringing. It's maybe rung 3 or 4 times this year when it was ringing 2 or 3 times a month before. It's rung 3 or 4 times this year. You gotta focus on generating that demand, create that demand. You gotta do activities that are gonna get you in touch with those people, right? Just because what was working before is not working right now doesn't mean there's no deals, doesn't mean the market's dead, doesn't mean the market has crashed. It means you have to adapt to where the market is. And if you sit there waiting for clients to come to you, it's just not going to work, right? You got to try something different. You've got to create that demand creation, database, cold calling, prospecting, right? Content creation online. All of those things are great ways to be generating demand and starting those real estate conversations, focused real estate conversations. We didn't even get into, you can buy leads online. They're looking right now. If you generate buyer leads working right now, 30 to 50% of them are going to have a home to sell. That's not bad. And a lot of them have already factored in these interest rates, right? There's less leads than there were a couple of years ago because less people qualify to buy a home than a year or 2 or 3 ago, right? That's a given. But people looking right now is probably factored in those rates. All right. So that's it, Roberto. That's what I got. You got to change that mindset and focus on demand creation.
And I think it's important what you just said about the mindset, right? The thing is, it's time to build your database right now. You create demand by building your database right now. You may not have a closing in the next 30 days, in the next 60 days, in the next 90 days. But if you want to make sure that you have a closing in the next 90 days or next 6 months, you got to work for it right now. Whether you're buying leads, whether you're calling your own database, whether you're posting content on social media, it all takes work, right? So the mindset should have, hey, I need to get this done. I just need to plan out my week, create content, make my calls, put in the work. And even if you don't close things right now, you're building your database so that things can start to close in the next 3 to 6 months. But you got to put in the work right now.
Yeah, 100%. Could have said it better myself. You got to put in that work. And like I said, just take a step back, right? Take a step back and just realize, where was your business coming from in those boom times, right? You got to shift things, got to move things around. It's not going to be the same as a year ago, as 2 years ago. It's not, right? Make peace with that fact and adapt. Try something different. Even here, Power, I say, we were not near a year ago. We weren't doing any cold outreach. We weren't doing any paid ads. We didn't need to. Businesses everywhere, but people were calling us, plenty of clients just from our organic outreach. And as soon as things started to shift, I'm like, we got to change. You cannot be doing things exactly the same way. And I'm going to pat myself on the back. And I think we've navigated the storm as well as we have, because we're not the same company we were a year and a half ago, right? Because the market's not the same either. So if you don't adapt and switch gears and adapt to that market, there's no way you're going to have a chance to survive, right? So just do not be afraid of that. Lean in to what's working now, not what was working a year ago or a year and a half ago. Make that shift.
If you're watching, guys, on the replay, if you're watching right now, just comment what's working for you, what's not working for you, what have you shifted from that works for you now. Help the group out. We'll be back again next Monday. If there's anything in particular that you want us to cover, we'll be back next week and we can talk about that as well. Thank you, Gustavo. Have a great rest of your day, man.
Thanks.